Part of my work is silver awareness, bringing attention to silver and calling out the fraud of promissory notes. Calling out that it is just magic money. It's an illusion. You're being deceived. You're being gaslit about promissory notes. They are just cash. Cash is just promissory notes. They are just notes with promises on them, and they are broken promises. And I'm going to be now revealing a few more secrets that I really only reveal to people who do paid consultations with me. But I've been putting these tracking devices in this credit card size tracker. Lasts for about 5 months. These are about £7 on eBay, places like that. It's a credit card, you can slide in a wallet or whatever. I've bought them in bulk. If you buy them in bulk, you can get a lot cheaper. And we've been sliding this behind the £5 note. Now, I use quite a thick card to make my promissory notes. And we always cut out the credit card size so that this slides in. You wrap the £5 note around it, you put it through the laminator. You can't really tell. It's just you think it's bulky there because the £5 note's there. Now, we've learned some fascinating things. We've been doing this for a long time now, and a lot of these companies, the promissory notes that we send all end up in the same place. And I didn't think those companies were related. But it's useful in so many ways. If you do a consultation with me, I'll tell you all the main ways. But often they say we didn't receive it. It wasn't in the envelope, which is a childish, stupid lie. They might say we're going to destroy it or throw it away. It will be discarded. Well, then why is it at your head office? We can see where it is. You can see where it is for 5 months. These are brilliant. Anyway, I bought them in bulk. You can either buy them yourself, £7 on eBay, other places. If you want, I can buy a promissory note with this already installed, already. And you can turn it on here. You can charge it wirelessly. I've got a wireless charge. You put this circle on it. Even in the promissory note, once it's all laminated in, you can charge it up fully before you send it. Now I want to talk a bit more about how silver relates to promissory notes. I really like Clive Thompson here. He's often been on Mario Maneko64's channel. I've been listening to them both for years, and I think they're absolutely right, the things they say. He's got this big book of promissory notes here, or banknotes, or cash. And he talks about the monetary cycle. He uses the word pattern or cycle, and he says it's happened all through history. All these promissory notes you see in his book, all of them, they are just cash, they are just promissory notes. And the cycle goes in stage 1, where gold and silver and sometimes copper are convertible for the promissory notes. That's what gets people's confidence in the promissory notes. And then they get so used to using the promissory notes that the government can announce stage 2. We suspend convertibility of the promissory notes for the gold, silver and copper. Now in stage 1, they couldn't print more promissory notes than they have gold and silver, but in stage 2, it's suspended. You can't convert it anymore. Confidence has been gained in the promissory notes. Now they can expand the supply out of thin air. And what comes last of all is stage 3, where gold and silver do an accounting for all the promissory notes added to supply above the amount that there should be, the amount of gold and silver in storage. And gold and silver revalue up to account for all these promissory notes added to supply. That's happening today. Listen to this.
History, all of human history, money always starts as something real, something tangible, something in limited supply. Gold, silver, copper, pattern. No matter where you look in history, currencies have always gravitated to the 3 metals, gold, silver, and copper coins. Why? Because they're durable, divisible, and most importantly, they can't be created out of thin air. But then something always happens. Governments step in. They say, hey, carrying all that heavy gold and silver around is inconvenient. Let us issue paper notes that represent that gold and silver. It's much easier. And it's a promise from the government which you can trust. Well, at first that works beautifully. The paper is backed by real metal. You can take your paper notes to the bank and get real gold coins in exchange for it. Everything's stable and everyone is happy.
He's absolutely right. This has happened all through history. Stage 1, After stage 3 and the chaos of the last time, it always goes in 3 stages, and then there's chaos, and then it goes back to stage 1 again, because it's the only way to get order. You go back to gold, silver, possibly copper, the monetary metals, trimetallic standard. Then they think it's heavy, it's cumbersome, let's issue these promissory notes. And these days it'll be digital, this next time the cycle repeats. This is more convenient, and it is more convenient, as long as it's honest, as long as they don't create more promissory notes than they have gold and silver to back it by and convert it for. And it should be convertible, so that if everyone went and converted their paper or digital promissory notes, they'd all receive the gold and silver that's promised on there. That is honest, that is a sound monetary system, and over time people get confidence in the promissory notes then. They get used to it. They're so busy with their lives, they're used to using them. As long as the government doesn't create more, expand the supply more than there is gold and silver to convert it for, that would be an honest system, and I wouldn't be putting so much work into calling out the fraud, because there wouldn't be any fraud. If they didn't create more £5 notes, £10 notes, £20 notes and £50 notes than they had pounds of sterling silver, and you could swap a £50 note for £50 LBS pounds of sterling silver, that's an honest system. I wouldn't be putting so much effort into calling out the fraud. There would be no fraud. But they always go to stage 2, where they do create more £5 notes, £10 notes, £20 notes, £50 notes than they have gold and silver to back it up with, to convert it for. Then that is fraudulent. And they make an announcement, we suspend convertibility of the promissory notes in the cash, the banknotes, into what is promised on there. Now it's confusing. There's still a promise on there. I promise to pay £5 of sterling, but people don't understand that promise, and people just don't want to ask questions about that. Just don't question it. Just use it. Just carry on. Don't look over here. It is magic money, and it is designed to gaslight the people. My work is calling out. It's all about silver. Promissory notes are all about silver, and that's why I teach people how to write their own promissory notes, which is calling out the fraud, bringing attention to silver. And to show the confusion, I've often shown this clip. I really want to show it again and really think about it again. A Hollywood actor went into the vaults of the Bank of England, which used to be full up of gold and silver, but silver's been in deficit for a long time. It means all the silver has now been chucked on landfill in industry. And the space that used to be full up with silver is full up with even more gold, because gold is in surplus. It's just building up and up and up and up. And this Hollywood actor asked Sarah John, who is a chief cashier of the Bank of England, who signs all the 5, 10s, 20s and 50s at the moment. He asked her, why does the Bank of England need to hold so much gold, monetary precious metal? He said, why does it have to hold so much gold? What's the answer to this question? He said, take me back. Talk me through it. So the question he's asking her, why does the Bank of England have to hold so much gold? Listen to her answer and think, how does that answer the question? Why does the Bank of England have to hold so much gold? Take me back. Talk me through it.
Was they would take their gold coins to a goldsmith, and the goldsmith would issue them with an IOU.
Okay.
And over time, people realised that actually using those IOUs to pay for goods and services was actually easier than actually going and getting the gold and lugging it around.
Okay.
And those IOUs eventually developed into what we now know as banknotes.
That's fascinating, isn't it? See this? Just there? That's Sarah's signature, with the words, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £20. It's just an IOU.
It is just an IOU. The £5 note is a promissory note. How can that promise be fulfilled? It's critical that we ask that question, because the promissory notes that we've been writing say very clearly on it, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of this amount, in numbers and in words, in the same like manner and form as would be the Bank of England at the time of payment. And the enclosed £5 note, and it's got a tracking device behind it, affirms the equivalence of this promise. And it meets all the requirements of a promissory note in the Bills of Exchange Act, which is clearly laid out. I'm calling out the fraud of the whole system, but that is the system. We don't get a choice what system we're in. We can't change the system. We can lobby, we can petition, we can do this. No, we have to participate. We are in it. I'm not saying I'm trying to you should change this, you should repeal the Bills of Exchange Act. I'm not saying that. Look, this is the system we're in. We've got no choice. The cards you're dealt is how you play them. We're in this system. We want to understand the system. And the Bills of Exchange Act hasn't been repealed. It lays out all the requirements of a promissory note. Look at the £5 note. It has to have a clear promise on it that's unconditional. I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5. It has to have that in numbers and in words. The £5 note's got that. And it has to have a signature. Now, a lot of this all the SOV sits, the big movement, they go into all sorts of funny nonsense that I don't think there's any point in it. My way's so simple. They put, a red thumbprint on it. Some people put stamps on it. All these things. You don't need any of that, because look at the £5 note. I get all these funny questions. Should you do this? Should you do this? Well, look, just look at the £5 note. That is a promissory note. That is cash. We need to do the same as that. If you want to make a promissory note, according to the Bills of Exchange Act requirements, you just need to follow the £5 note and put on your promissory note that you're doing that. And this is cash. And the whole point we're making is it's magic. It's magic money. It's nonsense. We are calling out that it is just magic. It is an illusion. It's an illusionary system. There is not enough silver left in the world to convert all the £5 notes and 20s, 50s and all the digital, of which there's trillions. Pounds alone now, there's trillions in supply. There's a lot we don't know about. Is an unlimited amount. Anytime the government wants, they can type in another £1 billion, press enter. Hang on, that's not enough. Should we make it 10 billion? Yeah, let's make it 10. And they just go back, press one more zero, boom, times 10. £10 billion. Press enter. Magic money computers. And a lot of people have said that's not true. They can't just do that. They can. And Elon Musk pointed this out. It was in America, but they're all the same. All these unbacked promissory notes are the same. He, in his Dodge, the Department of Government Efficiency, he came out and he said, we found at least 14 magic money computers. I'm quoting Elon Musk exactly now. And someone asked him, what do you mean magic money computer? And he said, well, every time they run out, the bank account, imagine your bank account, it runs out, you go down low, you're spending too much, it's gone down quite low. You can just type in a new balance, whatever you like. There's no limit. If you type in 1 billion, hang on, we might need a bit more than that. Let's make it 10 billion. Yeah, 10 billion. Another zero, boom, times 10, press enter. Oh, we've got 10 billion in our account. Now we can spend it. This sounds, for those who didn't know about this, you have no faith in any promissory note system. You should have no faith. It's all nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Now, Bixweir, who's a very wise man, said Elon Musk only found 14 magic money computers, but he didn't. If he looked longer, he would have found a lot more. But Bixweir said you only need one, really. You need one at the Fed. And that one magic money computer could just create a billion every day and send it to all those 14 departments who've got their own magic money computers. But really, it's all magic money. They're all wizards. It is an illusion. You are being gaslit if you have any faith in these promissory notes. The work we're doing is to draw attention to silver and to draw attention to that promissory notes are fraud. We're calling out the fraud. And at the moment, anybody can. The Bills of Exchange Act doesn't say anything about it has to be a man, it has to be a woman, you have to have this job, you have to do this. No, anybody can. Sarah John is just to replace somebody else. Soon she might be replaced. Someone else might sign it. As long as you make a promise, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of this in numbers and in words, and you sign it, that meets all the requirements of what a promissory note should be. Now, how will that promise be fulfilled? And if you write a promissory note to one of the bankers and they said, when are you going to pay it? That is a very good question. I would also like to know. I can't speak for the Bank of England, but as soon as the Bank of England fulfill that promise, I will fulfill mine in the exact same way. Now, some have said that promise is on there because if your £5 note is a bit old and crimpled, and you can take it into the bank and they'll issue you a new one. Now, it doesn't say anything about that in legislation or in the Bills of Exchange Act, but if that is the system, we have promised to honour ours in the same way, same like manner and form at the time of payment. They might change things in the future. That our promise is the time of payment. So that is the system now. So if they want to, you have to be ready for that. They might want to bring it back to you. I'm the bearer. I demand this. You can write them a new one. And you could put a tracking device in the new one as well if you like. A nice new tracking device. Have it all ready. I get quite a few of them ready, just blank. Even after it's been laminated, you could write on it with a permanent indelible marker. I make quite a few blank ones, and I'll sell you a pack of blank ones if you like, and a pack of cover letters. And I've got different cover letters for different situation. Every situation is different. You can't just have standard that'll just do for everything. I'll help you all the way through it. I'll tell you what will happen. And by the way, I'll only help people if there's no loss. I will not use promissory notes if anybody loses anything. But if you do self-liquidating loans, nobody loses anything. When you take out an unsecured personal loan from one of the big financial lending institutions, they don't take their funds that they've already got and give it to you. That would be lost then if you wrote a promissory note. No, they don't say we've transferred funds. They say the funds will appear in your account. Before they appeared, they didn't exist. Just like the magic money computers that Elon Musk found, they appear out of thin air. And if you write a promissory note, you've made the same amount of funds appear out of thin air. You've expanded the currency supply by that much. We can see where these promissory notes end up. Within 5 months, wherever they go, after 5 months the battery runs out. We can't track them anymore. But there's a good chance they're not going to be moving much after that. That's wherever they end up there, in the vault or wherever it is, that is probably where they will stay. Now, these tracking devices only work if an Apple device comes near to them. They have to have an Apple Watch, usually Apple phone, some kind of iPhone that's online, or iPad, or a laptop, iMac or something. The last time it went past one of those that was connected to the internet, that's when we'll see the location. And we can see they're often ending up in the same few places around London. That's where these promissory notes end up. And that is a negotiable financial instrument that is on their balance sheet. You've increased their net worth by that amount. If it's 30,000 or 29,000, you've created £29,000 and expanded the currency supply of the world, the promissory note supply of the world by that amount. It is expanding anyway. Nobody loses anything whatsoever. There is no loss. If you didn't create those 30,000, somebody else would have.